Welcome to the Beyond Beauty Podcast with Dr. Cory Gaiser and Dr. Troy Pearce. We're going to take you behind the scenes of cosmetic surgery and cosmetic dentistry. Welcome to the Beyond Beauty Podcast. It's going to be a lot of different things, but I'm anxious to get it going. So today we're going to introduce both of the doctors, and we'll start with Dr. Gaiser and just kind of give us a little bit of background of where you came from and how you got where you are.
All right. So I am Dr. Cory Gaiser, like you said, and I'm internal medicine board certified. I started my medical journey in Michigan. I went to University of Michigan for my undergrad, and then I was kind of an atypical student in that I went to the Caribbean for medical school, ended up in New York for some additional training, and then wound up in Cincinnati because my residency. You know, when you do medical residency, it's almost like online dating. Like you put out a list of all the schools that you'd like to date, and then or the residency programs, and then they put out a list of all the potential residents that they would like to date, and through the algorithm you match up.
That's the matching process everybody goes through.
The match, yeah. And we ended up in Cincinnati. I'd never been to Cincinnati before. Drove through it plenty of times, going to Florida, but we ended up here, and my wife and I really liked it here. We started a small business during my residency that was successful, and I think that was mostly successful because of the region we're in Cincinnati, and that kept us here. And from there, I branched out of internal medicine and into aesthetics. Weirdly enough, through an unfortunate event my wife had with an aesthetics provider out of Florida. And so that really put us into at least the concept of aesthetics, which we didn't know much about prior to that. And as I gained more knowledge of the aesthetics world, it became more and more appealing to me. And we turned it into a business, a pretty successful business. But, you know, one of my goals is to kind of break down those barriers that really kept me out of the aesthetics world initially, thinking it had a stigma, and it really doesn't. It was I was very ignorant to the concept. And so, one of the things I want to bring to the table is that background and really shed light on the topic.
Right. It's medicine combined with consumerism. And that's kind of what dentistry is too. We say that everything besides pulling a tooth is an elective procedure. So it's education, it's lifestyle, it's confidence, and how you feel about yourself. And ultimately, I think the mouth leads to the rest of the body. And they say you can tell a lot about someone's health by the condition of their oral cavity. And a lot of times dentistry is the most frequent touch point for patients. And so we have to have a good sense of what they're doing in terms of, a lot of my patients have dermal fillers, lip fillers. They've been doing Botox. They're getting other surgeries. And the way that intertwines with our with our world is you've got to have a great understanding of it. At least you have to have a good relationship with your specialist that you're using. And so I think it's good to know for us what is going on your all's end. So I really am looking forward to that. And it's an interesting pathway to get there. And what do you think drew you into the most about, doing the procedures that you do? Like you're in the lipo lounge. So lipo lounge is kind of your main go-to there.
Yeah, so it was weird how we fell into that. So when we did aesthetics, we got introduced to the traditional toxins and fillers. That's the foundation, I think, of facial aesthetics outside of the cosmetic dentistry world. And we needed something that could keep the business sustainable, right? Everybody loves that term, sustainable. And we needed something that had a higher return on investment, because toxins and fillers won't keep your doors open, right? It's a great foundation for aesthetics, a baseline, but we needed something different. And by a weird encounter, a sales rep called us, and I was trying to show my wife how to get rid of sales reps. and gave him this asinine request of taking us to a high-end dinner if he wanted to talk to us. And he did. He took us to dinner, and we had a very nice experience with him. And I liked what he had to say. I had contemplated liposuction as a business venture, but just superficially. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to do liposuction. That's what
Right.
I was into. It was, liposuction's interesting. And that was about as far as it went. And after hearing their speech on the process, I'm like, well, this is really interesting. I could see me doing that. I'm very hands-on, procedurally driven. I could see me doing liposuction and doing it successfully and having good outcomes, keeping the patient safe, having good outcomes. And that's exactly what happened. We got into it and I really enjoyed it. I still enjoy it. And we found ways to make it very successful for the patient, right. Great outcome. And now I have, a wonderful panel of very happy patients who have been able to transform their body through this process.
Great. It's a head start for them. And it's everything's about a lifestyle and creating habits that are going to help us sustain the gains that you make in the lipo lounge. And so it's a great head start. And, I think cosmetics is kind of like that. I see a lot of times people get their smiles done, and the next time I see them 6 months later, now they've lost 20 pounds. They've got they're dressed better. It just gives them a boost to get over that hump, and that's a really neat thing to see. That's one thing I really appreciate about what we do is our recurring interactions that we see with people at the 6-month visit. So I think that's a lot of times where you find that dermal fillers and Botox kind of are that for you. They have to come back and touch that up, and it's just a good touch point for people to stay in contact with your doctor and just have any questions about other things or see how it's going. It's you got to keep that relationship open, and I think that's what you do really well. You have a great relationship with your patients, from what I've seen. A lot of my patients have been to your office, like I said, and had lip. I can always tell when I'm getting them numb.
That's how we met, was through a patient that would visit both locations, and hey, you got to talk to this guy. You got to talk to this guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's like, you all have a lot in common, and doing a lot of different types of things. And I think that's one of the things we want to do on this podcast is have some of our patients, some of our clients to come on and share their journey a little bit. A lot of people are eager to help others out there by sharing their experience and kind of breaking down those walls of it's so scary, it hurts, it's expensive. Yeah. And hear it firsthand and just to see what they're doing. I think it's interesting to see, what happened after, in that 6 to 12 months after your transformation, how has your life changed? And to me, that's always interesting to hear. So, so you're giving your background a little bit and what you're doing. You're in Cincinnati, and you've been in business for how long now?
It'll be 2 years in November since we opened our doors.
2 years in November.
Started in 2018, and we actually, when we first got started, our building was under construction, and so we actually have an office in our home that we would do the more foundational aesthetics, the top fillers. Out of there. And that was always a unique experience for patients because they're coming to a residential location, and there was always funny to watch them like, is this really where I'm supposed to be? Mm-hmm. A house, and then, you try to give them a wonderful experience through, just this personable conversation and make them feel comfortable. And a lot of those patients are still patients to this day. Yeah. But then our building got done in November. We were able to move into it November 2 years ago. So we're coming up on our second anniversary in this location.
And you spent how long as an internist before this? Is that right?
I finished my residency 4 years ago.
Okay.
I was an internist for 4 years, and then
4 years
transferred to aesthetics. And so I've been in aesthetics for essentially 3 years. Mm-hmm. So 7 years.
I think it's very helpful to, in our world, there are specialists that take out wisdom teeth, specialists that do gum surgeries, and they have the opportunity to go to residency straight out of dental school. But then there's a lot of people who go into private practice and general dentistry for 2, 3, 4, 10 years and then go into specialty. And I think that it's always helpful to work with specialists that have had a background in general dentistry. So I think they see things with a greater perspective, and I think that's helpful for you to have that kind of background, know how the hospital system works, what's good about it, what's not so good about the hospital.
Well, you and I have had an extensive conversation on the topic of just mental health, and I think we're going to do designate a whole segment to that. That's probably the most profound thing I got to see from or carry over from the internal medicine world. All the other stuff is wonderful, but just how much this really brings mental health to a much better place. But
there's different ways to treat, right? There's different ways to treat.
Yeah.
Conventional medicine is quick, write a script, send you on your way. And most patients are more complicated than that.
Yeah.
And that's where you come in and you can do more than write a prescription. You can actually get to the root cause and figure out what's going on. So that's a deeper conversation. And you can't do that in the system that insurance has made and hospitals kind of follow, right?
And it's getting worse every year. I think
it is.
Medicare just cut their reimbursement again this year. They cut it last year too. I think
as overhead soars.
Yeah.
As overhead soars. So, all right. So, since you've given us a little bit of a background, I'll kind of go in that direction here. So I've been in Cincinnati practicing dentistry. I'm a general dentist. As most people know, their dentist that you go to every 6 months. I was a general dentist and did everything, though. In our world, as a journalist, if you can provide the standard of care, then you can take out teeth, Now, when I graduated in 2006, there was not a lot of specialties procedures being done in the general dentist world. There wasn't a lot of great continuing education. So people would go to residencies and get their specific training in gum surgery or root canals. There's only a few designated specialties in dentistry. Cosmetic dentistry is not a designated specialty. So you cannot say I'm an expert in cosmetic dentistry. There is actually no such thing. It is a training that you get. And I think that comes with repetition, the 10,000 hours of practice. And so what I wanted to do, my goal was to build a clinic where I could help everybody that came through my door, whether they needed, a filling, if there was a child, if they needed a wisdom tooth taken out. And then I got more into surgery and doing dental implants. And back in 2011, I started placing dental implants after a little mini residency in Columbus. And I got IV certified to do a lot of surgery. And I saw myself going into surgery because it really helped people who were losing their teeth. And you could see the collapse in their demeanor when they lost their teeth, and giving them their teeth back was, for me, it's life essential. I think, you're gonna live longer and live healthier if you can eat properly. And that was what I got into. And then I joined. Yes.
On that topic, a lot of people don't realize the importance of that in the lower third face filling.
Correct.
You have people come in for lip filler because they want volume in the lower third, and they don't have teeth, or they don't have appropriate dental care that's causing collapse of the mid face or the lower face, the jaw bone resorption, stuff like
Absolutely.
that. So it's huge.
It's all connected.
Facial aesthetics.
It's all connected. In fact, you've seen some patients of mine that I've brought over for hyperactive muscles around the lips that raise too high, show too much gum, and they say they have a gummy smile. Well, you can correct that a number of different ways. The cheapest way to do that is to lower the lip. And so you can do that with Botox. So we've done that before. There's lots of different, I guess, ways that our worlds cross paths there. So as I generated more patients coming in doing implants, I I had to figure out how I was going to do the very, very best for them as I was the people that were getting the fillings and the cosmetics. And so I brought in another doctor, and he got into some really heavy training into implants. And we've kind of transitioned him, one of my doctors in my practice. There's four of us now. We're in Cincinnati on Fountain Square. The practice has been there over 80 years. I'm the sole owner now of this practice. It's been there on the corner of Fountain Square for a long, long time. And I'm the
And what a beautiful area.
fourth generation owner. It's a great area. It's Cincinnati downtown area has been, I mean, since I've been downtown in 2008 is when I started at downtown. It's night and day. There was nowhere to eat after 5 o'clock except Subway. And now he's got all kinds of, and just a lot of life. And it's been a really fun ride. We built a top of the line clinic in 2015 that is a very unique office. We have 8,000 square foot that houses 4 doctors and 30 team members. We have 7 hygienists that see a lot of patients every day. What we've done is we've given our patients the top end care with technology, with some of the things we can do to help make treatment easier and more cost effective, and be able to do it within the world of dental insurance. And that's very rare. So the way we've done it is we've scaled, and having 4 doctors and being able to decrease some of the overhead expense. It's not easy having that many employees and seeing that many patients and keeping them happy and having what I consider one of the most unique experiences that our patients go through when they come through our office. But, our reviews, we have over 1,000 reviews on Google, which is number 1 in the area. We really focus hard on our patient experience. And now I've generated more of a cosmetic end in my practice. So I've kind of niched out into cosmetics, in which that allows me to spend more time with people. These appointments can be more time consuming. There's a lot more work that goes into them on the front end and the tail end. Our systems that we've had to put in place to service that patient who is coming in for a top end service. And we have people that travel from around the world coming in from all over the United States and Europe. There's a lot of people that work for Procter and Gamble. We've had a long standing relationship with Procter and Gamble. Nearly half of our practice is patients who have Procter and Gamble's insurance. We created that plan with their HR department in the early 90s. It's a very unique plan that we've created with them. And so we're able to live in a world where we work with insurance, and then we can do things outside of insurance where insurance doesn't cover things like sometimes dental implants, veneers, whitenings, things of that nature. But we're into 3D printing. We have cone beam x-rays in our office. We have 3 machines called CEREC, which allow us to make crowns and veneers in a single visit, which typically takes 2 visits in the course of 2 weeks. So we've really built a unique environment for our team and for our patients. And I really enjoy working with other doctors. I've never worked alone. I could never work in a hospital, but I do like the camaraderie that we've formed, and being able to bounce ideas off of each other, and having a support system there for one another. I feel like has really benefited, especially the younger doctors who get mentorship from me. And I've seen doctors that we just had a doctor leave and start her own practice in Fort Wayne, Indiana. She was there for 3 years, and she just took off in our office. So they're learning a lot. I'm learning a lot from them, and we have a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun. So I have 5 children. Me and my wife been married 21 years. Oh, wow. We met each other in college, and I went to University of Kentucky Dental School, and been up here since 2006. So we have kind of built our roots here. And my wife grew up in Cincinnati. I'm originally from Western Kentucky, which is just north of Nashville, Tennessee. So I love the area. I love the people here in Southwest Ohio, Northern Kentucky. I think it's a great area to live and raise a family. And I think the patients, I've had doctors that grew up in different parts of the country, and they say that treating the patients here is a blessing for them. So
it's funny that you mentioned that, because we're from Michigan, the Flint area, right? My wife and I are from the same area. We met each other when I was in college, and moved down here. I actually got married the weekend we moved down here, which was the weekend I started residency. So that was a very busy weekend. But one of the attractive draws to this area was how polite people were. It was totally, you come from the Flint area, people aren't that polite, and it's
Wow.
times up there. The economy is not great. It hasn't been for a long time because of General Motors, but coming down here, it was, hello, welcome, please, thank you. All the colloquial greetings that you lose living in an impoverished area that doesn't have a good economy, and everybody's very bitter, and it's always cold and gray. And you come here and people are nice. And it was just somewhere you could see starting and raising a family.
Right.
Close to
You've got a young family. You have how many children?
I have 3 kids, 5, 2, and 1.
All right. So we just had our first graduate high school. I'm 43 years old. We have an 18-year-old, a 15-year-old, and when we were 31, we had triplets. And that was, we found out we were having triplets 6 months after I had bought my practice. And one of our babies was very sick, and my wife was in the hospital for 7 weeks prior to the birth. And then once she got out of the hospital, our babies didn't come home, the last one, for 100 days. And he was really, really sick. So I went through a time there where my whole family did, where we really had to buckle down, and the workload was pretty immense. But I think from that we've grown so much, and we feel like nothing can really hurt us. Nothing's going to take us down. And that's kind of the mentality that I take into work every day. And that's kind of how I was known for a long time is, oh, you're the dentist who has triplets. How on earth do you do that? Did you get enough sleep last night? Probably not, but that's just life. And I'm better off for it. And I just can't imagine life any other way. So I really enjoy what I do. I enjoy what I'm able to do with my family. We enjoy traveling, getting to the beach. I like to get to the mountains too. I like sports. Our practice is full of people coming in that industry, and that's just kind of what we do. So,
and what a great city to be in for that. We had the Bengals beat the Dolphins last night, so that was awesome. That was a great game.
It's fun,
and to beat the Dolphins undefeated at this point. What an experience. You have the Reds, and that was a really big draw for us, because where we're from, you have the Lions and the Tigers, who, although they don't do great things every year and haven't since the 80s, it was still your hometown team. Like, still root for the Tigers, still root for the Lions.
Dude, people will say like Lions and Tigers and Bears. Oh my!
Well,
I never.
Lions and Tigers and disappointment. Oh my! It's just like always. They're going to lose, but it's going to be fun. But when we came here, it was like, let's get behind a sports team that's going to win. And
it's been pretty bleak until Joe Burrow.
Yeah, so for the first couple of years, it was almost like being back home. It's like, okay, there's glimpses of hope, and then no. And so last year was obviously very exciting for the Bengals.
What a ride. What a ride with the Bengals going to the Super Bowl with a super young team. And I think there's a confidence story in there, which we'll kind of get to maybe in the future episode. But I think we need to probably call it a wraps on the intro episode. So there's lots of things to come. This podcast is really created selfishly for myself to get to know Dr. Gaiser better and learn from him. I think iron sharpens iron. I respect your business systems, and that's something I'm just obsessed over right now, as to how to make the customer experience unparalleled, and that's what we strive for. And I know that what you do really, really well. So, but it's also for patients and
Yeah,
potential patients.
we got some really good topics that I'm really excited about talking about because I think
Me
they
too.
play a huge factor in what we do every day. So it's really
Me too.
exciting things to come.
I'm looking forward to it. So, all right, guys, until next time.